Hi, my name is Dennis Singh. You are on for CS319, and I am here to explain the 10th experiment, which is a scenario about a hospital management system. There are three diagrams here for us to consider. The first being a use case diagram, second sequence, and lastly an activity diagram. Again, this is all in the context of a hospital management system. And so now let's take a look at the use case diagram. What exactly is a use case diagram? It is a dynamic or a behavior diagram in the UML. Use case diagram models the functionality of a system um, using actors and use cases. It also has relationships such as use cases are a set of actions, services, and functions that the system needs to perform. In this context, the system is something being developed or operated, such as a website or an actor. In this case, we have a hospital management system with actors such as receptionist, doctor, patient, record system, etc. So let's get into it. The receptionist has the roles of patient registration, patient, file insurance claims, file a medical report, etc. The record system has the roles such as add doctor, delete doctor, schedule appointment, edit the the doctor and staff records, register for the doctor, etc. Patient has the roles of registering for the doctor, prescribe medicine, etc. Here we'll see relationships denoted by extends and includes. Um, yeah, so the uses relationship indicates that use case use case is needed by another in order to perform a task, and the extends, such as this one here, patient admission extends schedule admission, indicates that indicates alternative options under a certain use case. So that's that. And finally, the doctor has several roles, such as diagnose patient, which extends to prescribe medicine, which is also connected to the patient. So this together forms the use case of a hospital management system. Now let's move into the the next diagram. Yeah, so this is our activity diagram here, which is our next diagram for the hospital management system. An activity diagram is another important diagram in UML to describe the dynamic aspects of the system. Activity diagram is basically a flowchart to represent the flow from one activity to another activity. So as you can see here, it's just basically a flow of from one activity to another activity. The activity can be described as an operation of the system. So there are a few components here, such as the activity, the flow of it, and the joint taskbar. Followed by, in the beginning, we have our initial state, and at the end, we have the final state. Also notice we have decision bars here, which can be two or more decisions taking place inside the system. So let's take a look at the activity diagram. First, we'll validate the patient. Classify it into private or general. If it's private, we check availability for private room and assign the private room. If it's a general ward, we do this following, the same thing. For a general ward, we combine it together, and then we go to our next decision operation. Is the operation required or not? Yes. Then we assign main surgeon, assign assistant surgeon, assign operation theater, perform the operation. And then we go into check availability for the general ward. If it's not required, then we diagnose, prescribe medicine, and discharge the patient. Yeah, this is a small diagram for our hospital management system. Next up, we have a sequence diagram. diagram. Sequence diagram describes the interactions um, between the classes in terms of messages. As you can see here, we have messages being passed from patient, receptionist, doctor, nurse, etc. And they're also called event diagrams. Sequence diagram is a good way to visualize um, and validate various runtime scenarios, and it would enable us to recognize the responsibilities of each of the classes. There are various symbols and notations involved in sequence diagram. We shall begin with the first one being the object or the component, main component. Here we have four components: nurse, doctor, receptionist, and patient. These class roles describe the way an object will behave in context. Next we have an activation bar or execution occurrence, which is represented by this rectangular box here, and it just represents the time an object needs to complete a task. Next we have our messages. Messages are arrows that represent communication between our objects. We use half-arrowed lines to represent asynchronous messages. For example, here we have a message being passed from patient to receptionist. The admission is being given, and the receptionist in return fills the admission form and sends it to the patient. So it's basically just the messages being passed to both the objects in that particular relationship. Yeah, so we have our, we'll go from the start, patient to receptionist, admission, fill admission form from the receptionist to patient, and then the patient inputs the details. The process admission goes on from the receptionist, and the inquiry for the doctor takes place. The receptionist to the doctor passes a message and takes the appointment, and if it's granted, the doctor will grant the appointment and confirmation is given to the patient, to the receptionist, and then the patient directly consults the doctor. A doctor can ask help to the nurse, and it's the nurse's responsibility to assist the doctor, and prescription for the medicine is done from the doctor's side to the patient, and tests are performed through a patient-nurse relationship. The review of the test is asked from the patient to the doctor, and accordingly the medicine is given. The payment is done to the receptionist to the patient, and the money will be given from the patient to the receptionist. And later the patient may ask for an appointment, a future appointment, and that is indicated in our last message there. Yeah, so there we have it. We have the use case diagram, the activity diagram, and the sequence diagram of a hospital management.